skies above New York City lit up with strange lights on a cool September evening in 2157. It was not a military test or a natural event. It was first contact. 3 large ships hovered above the United Nations building. Their metal hulls shimmered with colors humans had never seen before. World leaders rushed to meet in emergency sessions. Phones rang in government offices across the globe. News channels showed the same images over and over. Humanity was not alone. Ambassador Aaron Collins wiped sweat from his forehead as he waited in the makeshift greeting area. He had been a diplomat for 20 years, but nothing had prepared him for this day. Next to him stood Lieutenant Catherine Barnes, a military advisor chosen for her calm thinking and language skills. They had been picked to speak for all of Earth. "Ready?" Aaron asked. Straightening his tie, Catherine nodded. "As ready as anyone can be to meet aliens." The door opened with a soft hiss. 3 beings walked in. One looked like a tall bird with blue feathers and 4 arms. Another seemed made of moving crystal that caught the light. The third was almost human-like, but with gray skin and large eyes. The bird-like alien stepped forward. "I am Speaker Ralvik of the Zelthori. We represent the Galactic Council, a union of 17 species that has kept peace among the stars for thousands of years." His words came through a small device at his throat, translated into perfect English. Aaron stepped forward too. "I am Ambassador Collins, and this is Lieutenant Barnes. We welcome you to Earth on behalf of all nations." Over the next days, humans learned about the Council. They claimed to help developing worlds join their community. They offered technology, protection, and a place at their table. Videos of their ships and strange devices filled the news. People on Earth celebrated in the streets. A new age had begun. The crystalline being, who called herself Tirvak of the Vor, showed Earth scientist machines that could clean pollution from the air. The gray alien, named Zaxteral, spoke of medicines that could cure many diseases. It seemed too good to be true. For 5 years, small pieces of technology arrived on Earth. Never quite enough to change everything, but enough to make people believe in the Council's promises. Energy systems became cleaner. Some sickness rates dropped. Space travel within the solar system became easier. Earth's countries started to change how they worked to match Council standards. Military forces shrank as the Council said full members must focus on peace, not war. Many weapons were taken apart. Ships were turned into science vessels. The world began to unite under the promise of joining something greater. Catherine, now a colonel, watched these changes with growing worry. One night, she sat with Aaron in his office at the UN. "Don't you think it's strange?" she asked. "They share just enough tech to keep us hoping, but never the big breakthroughs they promised." Aaron frowned. "These things take time. The Council has been clear that full membership is a process." "A process that keeps making us weaker," Catherine said. "We've cut our defenses in half." Aaron looked out the window at the permanent Council embassy that now stood in New York. "We have to trust the process. What choice do we have?" What humans didn't see were the private meetings happening on the Council ships. Ralvik of the Zelthori studied maps of Earth's oceans and mineral deposits. His blue feathers ruffled with excitement. "This world has more fresh water than the last 3 we found combined," he said to Tirvak. The crystalline being shimmered in agreement. "Their genetic diversity is remarkable too," Tirvak added. "So many useful traits we could harvest." In the highest chambers of the Council's main ship, High Minister Zaxteral led a secret vote. His gray face showed no emotion as he spoke to the 17 representatives. "The question before us is simple. Are humans suitable for true membership in our Council?" The room was silent for a moment. Then Zaxteral continued. "My assessment is no. They are unpredictable. Their history shows too much violence. Their emotions make them unstable." A smaller alien with green skin stood up. "But they have followed all our requirements. They have shown good faith." Zaxteral nodded. "Yes, Counselor Plex, but that does not change their nature. I propose we activate Protocol 87. Several gasps filled the room. Protocol 87 was the Council's code for taking a planet's resources while pretending to protect its people. It had been used many times before on worlds too valuable to ignore, but too dangerous to trust. All in favor? Zack Steral asked. 12 hands raised, 5 remain down. The motion passes. Earth will not receive membership. Instead, we will secure its resources under our protection. On Earth, strange things began to happen. Council members requested more access to water sources and mining areas. They asked to study humans in remote facilities. When questioned, they spoke of preparation requirements and safety protocols. Dr. Olivia Martinez worked with Council, scientists on medical projects. Late one night, she found files they hadn't meant to share. The files showed plans for human control devices labeled behavioral modification implants. She copied the files and took them to her friend, Commander Patrick Weber. "This can't be right," Patrick said, looking at the strange diagrams. "I checked 3 times," Olivia replied. "They're planning something terrible." Patrick had military contacts who still doubted the Council's good intentions. One was retired Admiral Gregory Powell, who had refused to disband his intelligence network despite official orders. While Earth's leaders continued to believe in the Council's promises, Powell gathered information. His team found unusual energy readings from Council ships. They intercepted fragments of messages about harvest schedules and subject processing. 7 years after first contact, Earth was at its most vulnerable. Military forces had been reduced by 70%. Many weapon systems had been decommissioned. The Council suddenly announced that protection requirements meant they needed to build large stations in orbit around Earth. When Aaron asked for details about these stations, the Council cut communications. All Council members disappeared from Earth overnight. Their embassy stood empty. Commander Natalie Foster worked at North America's remaining defense center. She detected a large group of ships heading toward Earth, much larger than any previous Council visit. "Sir, these aren't diplomatic vessels," she told her superior. "These are warships." On board the Council diplomatic ship where he had been working. As a human liaison, Communications Officer Daniel Wright heard alarming orders coming through. The Council wasn't planning a peaceful mission. They were planning to take over. Daniel broke into the secure communications room. He sent a desperate message to Earth. "This is Wright from Council Ship 7. Earth is in danger. The Council plans to take control of our planet. They never intended to make us members. They want our resources and plan to control our people with implants. Prepare for invasion. You have 3 days." Guards pounded on the door as Daniel sent the message. He was dragged away moments later, but his warning had gone through. The message reached Commander Foster. She immediately called Admiral Powell on a secure line. "The warning is real," Powell said. "I've been expecting this. Contact these people immediately." He sent her a list of names, military leaders from around the world who had maintained secret defenses. As Council ships approached Earth, humans began to realize the terrible truth. The aliens they had trusted had been lying all along. The technology, the promises, the friendship, all had been part of a plan to weaken Earth for easy conquest. Powell gathered his secret network in an underground base in Colorado. Maps and plans covered the walls. Weapons and equipment that officially didn't exist filled the rooms. "They think we're helpless," Powell told the room full of officers from dozens of nations. "They think we gave up all our strength because they asked nicely. They're about to learn how humans respond to betrayal." Catherine Barnes was there too, now a general. She looked at the plans before them. "They called it Protocol 87, she said. "We'll show them Protocol Fury." The Council ships entered Earth orbit 3 days after Daniel Wright's warning. There were 27 large vessels, each bigger than anything humans had built. They positioned themselves above major cities across the planet. Their weapons, systems glowed with strange energy that Earth sensors couldn't identify. Admiral Powell watched the feeds from his underground command center. Screens showed the alien ships hovering like dark clouds over New York, Beijing, London, and other cities. His face remained calm, but his eyes revealed deep anger. "They're sending a message," General Catherine Barnes said, standing beside him. "They want us to see their power before they make demands." Powell nodded. "Let them think we're afraid. It works in our favor." The main screen lit up as all communication systems on Earth received the same broadcast. High Minister Zax Terrell's gray face appeared, his large eyes blinking slowly. "People of Earth," he began, his voice translated by the devices the Council had given humans years before. "The Galactic Council has determined that your world requires direct protection and guidance. Our surveys show dangerous instabilities in your societies and environment. For your own safety, we are establishing control centers to manage your resources and development." Ambassador Aaron Collins stood in the United Nations emergency session, watching the same broadcast with world leaders. His face had gone pale. "This can't be happening," he whispered. 7 years of his life had been dedicated to building relations with the Council. 7 years of trust, broken in an instant. Zax Terrell continued speaking. "Council representatives will arrive in your major cities within hours. For a smooth transition, we require all military and government leaders to report to these representatives for processing. Resistance will be met with necessary force. This is not a negotiation." The broadcast ended. The room erupted in panic. Some leaders called for immediate surrender. Others demanded resistance. Aaron stood frozen until someone grabbed his arm. It was Dr. Olivia Martinez. "We need to go now," she said urgently. "Powell sent me to get you." "Powell? The retired admiral?" Aaron asked, confused. "The one who never trusted the Council," Olivia replied. "The one who was right." Across the planet, smaller Council ships began landing in city centers. Troops with advanced weapons secured government buildings. They looked like walking machines with armor that changed colors to match their surroundings. Their weapons fired energy that disabled electrical systems and knocked humans unconscious without killing them. In London, a Council commander named Drav examined humans who had been captured. He placed small devices on their necks. The devices burrowed under the skin and attached to nerve centers. The humans' eyes would go blank for a moment. Then they would stand calmly, waiting for orders. "The behavioral modification implants work perfectly," Drav reported to his superior. "We should have the major population centers under control within days." What the Council didn't know was that not all of Earth's defenses had been dismantled. In secret facilities deep underground, in mountain bunkers, and in hidden ocean bases, humans had kept weapons and ships that never appeared on official records. Admiral Powell had spent years building a shadow network of military personnel who shared his suspicions. They called themselves the Fenris Network after the wolf from Norse mythology who would break free at the end of the world. Now their time had come. General Catherine organized transport for key scientists and engineers to these hidden bases. Dr. Martinez brought crucial research on Council technology that she had secretly conducted while pretending to simply implement their systems. Commander Natalie Foster coordinated communications using old radio frequencies the Council didn't monitor. Aaron Collins was brought to Powell's Colorado base. He walked through the massive underground facility in shock. Experimental aircraft lined one enormous hangar. Weapon systems he had never seen before were being prepared by engineers. Hundreds of personnel worked with focused determination. "How is this possible?" Aaron asked Powell. "All military forces were supposed to be reduced and monitored by the Council." Powell's face showed no satisfaction at being proven right. Not everyone followed those orders. Leaders from 28 nations contributed to this network. We kept it hidden off all records. Even presidents and prime ministers weren't told everything. Aaron felt a mixture of relief and shame. Relief that humanity had some defense, and shame that he had been so thoroughly fooled. "I believe them," he said quietly. "I staked my reputation on their good intentions." Powell put a hand on his shoulder. "They fooled most of us. But now we need your knowledge of their systems and protocols. You spent more time with them than anyone." In orbit, Daniel Wright remained imprisoned on a Council ship. The guards had beaten him after discovering his warning message, but they kept him alive for questioning. They didn't realize he could understand their language without the translation device. He listened carefully whenever guards spoke near his cell. "The humans are falling more easily than expected," one guard said to another. "High Command is pleased. This is the fastest Protocol 87 implementation we've done," the second guard replied. The resource extraction can begin ahead of schedule. We'll start with their oceans, then move to mineral deposits. Daniel memorized everything he heard. He needed to escape somehow. On his third day of captivity, alarms suddenly blared throughout the ship. The guards ran from their posts. Daniel pressed his ear to the door and heard chaos in the corridors. An explosion rocked the ship. His cell door malfunctioned, sliding partly open. Daniel squeezed through the gap and ran. He found a service area where small transport vessels were docked. Using knowledge from his time working with council members, he managed to start one of the small ships and launch from the docking bay during the confusion. As he flew toward Earth, he saw the cause of the alarms. Several council ships were engaged in battle with unknown vessels. The unknown ships were smaller but incredibly fast, darting around the council vessels and firing weapons that somehow penetrated their shields. On Earth, the council occupation continued. In captured cities, humans were being rounded up for implant processing. Resources were already being harvested. Trees were cut down by automated machines. Ocean water was being pumped into huge containers. Mines were dug by council equipment that worked with frightening speed, but resistance had begun. Council patrols disappeared in some areas. Communication outposts stopped reporting. The council commanders were confused by these developments. According to their intelligence, Earth had no military capability that could threaten their forces. In Powell's base, the first phase of humanity's response was being prepared. Captain Samuel Hayes led a team of pilots training on the experimental aircraft. These planes used technology reverse-engineered from council designs, combined with innovations the council had never seen. "They think they know what we're capable of," Hayes told his pilots. "They've studied our official military. They have no idea what we've been developing in secret." Dr. Martinez worked with her team to finalize their most important weapon. It wasn't a bomb or a gun. It was a virus designed to infiltrate council neural networks. She had discovered that all council technology was connected through a system similar to the internet, but far more integrated. Their ships, their weapons, even their implants all shared data constantly. "If we can get this virus into just one of their main systems," she explained to Powell and the others, "it could spread throughout their entire network." As the council tightened its grip on Earth, humanity prepared to show what happens when humans are betrayed. The fury was building, hidden but growing stronger. The aliens who thought they had conquered an easy target were about to learn a painful lesson. 1 month after the council ships arrived, Earth looked different. Large metal towers rose from major cities. Strange machines dug deep into the ground, pulling out minerals. Huge pipes stretched from oceans to council ships, pumping water into storage tanks. Many humans walked with blank faces, small bumps visible on their necks where implants controlled them. But not all of Earth had fallen. The resistance grew stronger each day. Hidden bases on the dark side of the moon housed thousands of humans who had escaped. Underground facilities across Earth connected through old tunnel systems the Council didn't know about. Secret bases in the asteroid belt served as lookout posts, watching Council movements. Daniel Wright had made it safely to one of these asteroid bases. He stood beside Captain Samuel Hayes, looking at radar screens that showed Council ship positions. "There, supply ships follow the same route every 3 days," Daniel said, pointing to a pattern on the screen. "They think we can't touch them, so they don't bother changing course." Samuel nodded. "Perfect targets. We hit them fast, grab what we can, and disappear before their main fleet responds." The Resistance had developed ships using a mix of Earth, technology, and reverse-engineered Council systems. These ships were smaller than Council vessels, but much faster. They used a special coating that made them hard to detect on Council scanners. Samuel led a team of 12 pilots on these raid missions. They called themselves the Ghost Squadron. They struck Council supply lines, gathered intelligence, and sometimes rescued humans from processing centers. That night, they prepared for their biggest mission yet. 5 ships would attack a major Council supply convoy. Admiral Powell spoke to the team before they left. "This isn't just about supplies," he said. "We need to capture their communication module intact. Dr. Martinez needs it for the next phase." The Ghost Squadron ships launched silently from the asteroid base. They looked like black arrows against the darkness of space. Samuel led them toward the convoy route, keeping his ship's systems at minimal power to avoid detection. "There they are," he said as 6 large Council cargo ships appeared on his screen. "Remember, we need that comm module in one piece. Target engines and weapons only." The Ghost Squadron attacked from different directions. Council ships had no time to react. Samuel's ship fired special weapons that disabled engines without causing explosions. Another team member, pilot Lisa Gordon, used a beam that temporarily shut down Council shields. The Council ship sent distress signals, but the Ghost Squadron worked quickly. Samuel landed his ship on the largest cargo vessel. He and his team cut through the hull using tools designed by Dr. Martinez. Inside, they fought their way to the bridge, using weapons that stunned rather than killed. The comm module should be behind that panel, Daniel had told them during planning. Samuel found it exactly where expected. It looked like a glowing blue cube. He carefully removed it and placed it in a special container. "Package secured," he reported. "All teams return to ships. We have 4 minutes before Council reinforcements arrive." The Ghost Squadron escaped just as larger Council warships appeared. Their mission was a success. The communication module would give humans access to Council networks. Back at the moon base, Dr. Martinez worked quickly to analyze the captured technology. For 3 days, she barely slept. When she finally emerged from her lab, she looked tired but excited. "It works better than we hoped," she told Admiral Powell, General Catherine, and the other leaders. "This module doesn't just receive Council communications. It's a direct link to their central network. We can use it to deliver our virus." On Earth, the Council continued its resource extraction. High Minister Zax Turo visited the planet to inspect progress. He walked through a processing center in what was once Chicago, looking pleased at the efficiency of the operation. "Remarkable. How quickly they submitted," he said to Commander Drav. "Your implant program has exceeded expectations." "Thank you, Minister," Drav replied. "We have processed 60% of the major population centers. The rest will be complete within 2 months. What they didn't know was that many of the seemingly processed humans were actually resistance members. Dr. Martinez had created fake implants that looked real on Council scanners. These brave people gathered information from inside Council operations and secretly sabotaged equipment. One such person was engineer Frank Wilson. He worked in a Council mining facility, appearing to be under implant control. At night, he snuck into control rooms and made small changes to equipment settings. These changes caused machines to wear out faster or extract less efficiently. Frank also placed small devices throughout the facility. These devices looked like Council technology but actually served as entry points for the virus Dr. Martinez was developing. Similar actions happened across Earth. The Resistance called it Operation Trojan, after the ancient story of hidden warriors. Thousands of these small devices were placed in Council facilities, all waiting for the signal to activate. At the Colorado base, Ambassador Aaron worked with Powell to develop the next phase of their plan. Aaron had spent years learning about Council politics and discovered something important. Not all Council species supported the attack on Earth, he explained. 5 voted against it. If we can contact them, we might find allies. Powell looked skeptical. "How do we reach them? We can't exactly send an email." "Actually, we can," Dr. Martinez said, joining their conversation. "The comm module gives us access to their equivalent of diplomatic channels. We can send a message directly to those 5 species." Aaron spent days crafting the perfect message. He included evidence of the Council's lies and the true nature of Protocol 87. He appealed not just for help, but for justice under the Council's own laws. Meanwhile, preparations for the main counterattack continued. The Resistance had grown to include bases on Mars and several large asteroids. Small manufacturing facilities built weapons and ships. Training centers prepared fighters. Dr. Martinez finalized her virus. She named it Prometheus, after the figure from Greek myths who gave fire to humans against the gods' wishes. The virus works in 3 stages, she explained to the leadership team. First, it maps the entire Council network without being detected. Second, it creates backdoor access points throughout their systems. Finally, when activated, it disrupts their neural interfaces. What exactly will it do to them? General Catherine asked. It won't kill anyone, Olivia assured her. But it will disable their ships, weapons, and communication systems. Most importantly, it will deactivate the human control implants. The plan required perfect timing. The virus would need to spread throughout the Council network before being activated. This meant waiting until it reached Council ships beyond Earth. Captain Samuel and the Ghost Squadron continued their raids, drawing Council attention away from the real preparation. Each raid became more daring. Council commanders grew frustrated by their inability to catch the human ships. They're just primitives, Commander Drav complained to High Minister Zaxatural. How can they evade our best tracking systems? Never underestimate desperation, Zaxatural replied. Increase patrols, and bring more ships to secure the system. I want these raids stopped. This was exactly what the Resistance wanted. More Council ships meant more vessels connected to their network. Each new ship that arrived became another carrier for the hidden virus. 6 months after the invasion began, humans were ready. Admiral Powell gathered the Resistance leaders at the moon base for final preparations. Tomorrow we launch Operation Prometheus, he told them. Dr. Martinez will upload the virus through the comm module. Ghost Squadron will create diversions to keep Council attention divided. Ground teams will stand ready to move once the implants deactivate. That night, Samuel couldn't sleep. He walked to the observation deck and looked at Earth glowing in the distance. Parts of the planet showed strange lights from Council mining operations. General Catherine found him there. Nervous about tomorrow? She asked. Samuel nodded. What if it doesn't work? What if the virus fails? Then we keep fighting, Catherine said firmly. Humans don't give up. The Council thought we'd surrender easily. They're about to learn how wrong they were. Operation Prometheus began at dawn. Dr. Martinez sat at her control station on the moon base, surrounded by screens showing Council network activity. Her fingers moved quickly over the keyboard as she prepared to upload the virus. Admiral Powell, General Catherine, and other leaders watched in tense silence. Ghost Squadron is in position, Samuel reported over the comm system. His team had positioned their ships near key Council communication relays. Ground teams ready, came another report from Resistance fighters hidden across Earth. Olivia took a deep breath. Uploading Prometheus now, she said, pressing the final command. On her main screen, a progress bar appeared, showing the virus moving into the Council network. Stage 1 complete, she announced after several minutes. Virus is mapping their systems, no sign of detection yet. In orbit around Earth, Council ships continued normal operations. Supply vessels moved between larger ships. Mining equipment pulled resources from the planet. Nothing seemed unusual to Council commanders. Samuel and Ghost Squadron launched their diversion attack. They targeted a large Council supply depot near Mars, firing weapons that caused bright explosions but minimal damage. Council ships responded, immediately sending defensive forces to the area. They took the bait, Samuel reported. At least 15 warships have left Earth orbit. This was critical for the plan. With Council forces divided, they would be more vulnerable when the virus activated. Meanwhile, the virus continued spreading through the network, hidden within normal data transmissions. Stage 2 complete, Olivia reported 2 hours later. Backdoor access points established throughout their system. Beginning final stage. She sent the activation command. For a moment, nothing seemed to happen. Then alarms began to sound. On Olivia's screens, Council systems started showing errors. The virus had begun its work. On Council ships, confusion spread quickly. Navigation systems failed. Weapons went offline. Communication between vessels cut out. The crystalline Vor, who relied most heavily on neural interfaces, were affected worst. Their bodies froze as their connection to the network collapsed. Commander Drav was on the main Council command ship when the systems failed. What's happening? He demanded as screens went dark around him. Unknown system failure, a technician responded. It's spreading through all connected systems. Disconnect from the network, Drav ordered. But it was too late. The virus had already locked all systems together, preventing emergency protocols from working. On Earth, the most dramatic effect occurred. Thousands of humans with control implants suddenly stopped working. The implants deactivated all at once. People who had been forced to work in mines and processing centers stood still for a moment, then looked around in confusion as their minds cleared. Frank Wilson, the undercover engineer, sprang into action. He had been waiting for this moment. "Everyone follow me," he shouted to the newly freed workers. "We're taking back our planet." Similar scenes played out across Earth. Resistance fighters emerged from hiding, leading freed humans to safety or organizing them to fight back. Council guards found themselves surrounded by angry humans who greatly outnumbered them. Major Elizabeth Morgan led a strike team that had been hiding near a major council command center in former London. As the virus took effect, her team moved in. Council guards, unable to use their advanced weapons, were quickly overwhelmed. "Secure the control room," Elizabeth ordered. "We need their command codes." Her team fought their way through the building. The Council forces, so dependent on their technology, had few defenses when that technology failed. Elizabeth's team reached the control center and captured the Council officers inside. One of these officers was a VOR commander. Unlike the others, he seemed almost relieved to be captured. "You've done something remarkable," he said to Elizabeth. "No species has ever countered our technology this way." "We're full of surprises," Elizabeth replied. "Now give me access to your communication system." The viewer commander cooperated, providing codes that allowed Elizabeth to broadcast across all Council frequencies. "Attention all Council forces," she announced. "Your systems are compromised. Your control of Earth is over. Surrender your positions and no harm will come to you." In space, Samuel and Ghost Squadron pressed their advantage. With Council ships disabled, they moved in close, attaching devices to key vessels. These devices, designed by Dr. Martinez, reinforced the virus's effects and prevented Council engineers from restoring systems. "All primary targets secured," Samuel reported. "Council fleet is effectively neutralized." On the moon base, Admiral Powell received reports from across the solar system. The virus had worked even better than expected. Nearly 90% of Council technology was disabled or compromised. "Phase 2, Powell ordered. He turned to Aaron Collins. "Ambassador, it's your turn." Aaron nodded. Using the comm module and the access codes Elizabeth had secured, he sent his prepared message to the 5 Council species who had voted against Protocol 87. The message included evidence of the Council's actions on Earth and dozens of other worlds they had betrayed. "People of the galaxy," his message began. "I am Ambassador Aaron Collins of Earth. What you're experiencing is not an attack but a call for justice. The Council leadership has betrayed not just Earth but countless worlds." The message spread quickly. Council members who had opposed Protocol 87 saw the evidence and were horrified. The bird-like Zelthori representative, Kelmar, immediately contacted Admiral Powell. "We had no idea the extent of their actions," Kelmar said, feathers ruffled in agitation. "Many of us were told these were peaceful resource-sharing missions. Will you help us?" Powell asked directly. "Yes," Kelmar replied without hesitation. "The Council's leadership has betrayed its founding principles. This cannot continue. With help from these Council allies, humans gained access to even more Council systems. Dr. Martinez modified her virus to target only ships and stations loyal to High Minister Zaxatural. Ships controlled by the 5 friendly species remained operational. On Earth, the tide turned rapidly. Council forces, cut off from their technology and support, found themselves surrounded by angry humans. Many surrendered without a fight. Others retreated to their ships only to find those ships unable to launch. In what was once Paris, a Council commander tried to activate a powerful weapon designed to destroy large areas if their control was threatened. Engineer Lisa Parker, who had infiltrated the facility months earlier, had disconnected the weapon's power source the night before. When the commander tried to fire it, nothing happened. Your backup plan failed too, Lisa told the shocked commander, as resistance fighters surrounded him. We've been 3 steps ahead of you this whole time. 6 weeks after Operation Prometheus began, most of Earth was back under human control. Council prisoners were held in the same facilities they had used to process humans. The resistance worked tirelessly to remove implants from those who had been controlled. High Minister Zax Tural had retreated to his personal ship when the virus first struck. He had managed to keep some systems operational by disconnecting from the main network. Now he watched in disbelief as his invasion force crumbled. Impossible, he muttered as reports of losses continued to arrive. They're primitives. How could they defeat our technology? A message appeared on his screen. It was from Admiral Powell. Minister Zax Tural, Powell said, his voice calm but firm. Your forces are defeated. Your allies have abandoned you. Surrender now. Zax Tural's large eyes narrowed. This isn't over, he replied. The Council has resources beyond this system. I'm calling for reinforcements. We will retake Earth and punish your species for this resistance. Powell's face showed no concern. We're counting on that, he said before ending the transmission. In the Colorado base, Powell met with his leadership team. Zax Tural took the bait, he told them. He's calling for reinforcements from the Council homeworlds. That's exactly what we wanted, Dr. Martinez said with a satisfied smile. Every ship that responds will carry our virus deeper into Council space. Samuel looked confused. I thought we won already. Why do we want more Council ships coming here? General Catherine explained. This was never just about saving Earth. We need to stop the Council from doing this to any other world. The only way to do that is to take the fight to them. Powell nodded. And thanks to our friends inside the Council, we now have something they never expected us to get. He turned to Dr. Martinez. Show them. Olivia brought up a display showing strange equations and diagrams. This is their faster-than-light travel technology. They deliberately hid this from us during the 7 years of contact. With this, we can reach the Council homeworlds before their reinforcements even arrive here. The room fell silent as the implications became clear. Humanity wasn't just fighting for survival anymore. They were taking the fight to the heart of Council space. 2 weeks passed as humans prepared for their boldest move yet. Using the faster-than-light technology obtained from their Council allies, Dr. Martinez and her team modified 20 ships for the journey to Council space. These ships were painted black with a single red stripe representing the blood Earth had shed. Captain Julia Rodriguez was chosen to lead this special fleet. She had been a pilot before the invasion and had shown remarkable skill during the resistance. Now she stood in the launch bay of the moon base, looking at the sleek black ships. Ready for this? Samuel asked, joining her. He would remain behind, to defend Earth against the expected Council reinforcements. No, Julia admitted, but someone has to do it. Admiral Powell addressed the crews before departure. Your mission is clear. Travel to Council space. Disable their governmental and military centers. Upload the evidence of their crimes to their public networks. This isn't about revenge. It's about justice and making sure they can never do this to another world. The crews of the 20 ships included the best pilots, engineers, and soldiers from the resistance. Ambassador Aaron would also go, along with several Council allies who had defected to help Earth. Their knowledge of Council worlds would be invaluable. As the fleet prepared to leave, news arrived from the outer solar system. Long-range sensors detected a large Council armada entering the system. More than 50 warships were heading toward Earth. They're responding faster than we expected, General Catherine told Powell. Zax Tural must have sent an emergency signal. Powell looked, unconcerned. It changes nothing. Julia's fleet will depart as planned. We'll handle the reinforcements here. Julia's fleet launched from the moon base. The ships formed a perfect V formation. As they reached the edge of the solar system, Julia gave the order to activate the faster-than-light drives. All ships prepare for jump, she said calmly. Destination, Vantrix Prime, capital of Council space. The black ship seemed to stretch for a moment, then vanished in flashes of blue light. For the crews, the experience was strange. Time seemed to bend around them. Stars blurred into lines. Then suddenly, they were there. A large planet with 3 moons appeared before them. Around it orbited hundreds of council ships and stations. "We made it," Julia announced. "All ships report status." All 20 ships had arrived safely. They remained undetected thanks to special cloaking technology Dr. Martinez had developed based on council designs. "Begin Phase 1, Julia ordered. Small stealth drones launched from each ship. These drones carried a modified version of the Prometheus virus. They headed toward key communication hubs around the planet. Meanwhile, on Earth, Powell prepared for the arriving council reinforcements. But he had a surprise waiting for them. Using technology from the friendly council species, humans had built a massive gravitational distortion field. This field was hidden among the asteroids between Mars and Jupiter. "Activate the field when they reach the target zone," Powell ordered. As the council reinforcement fleet passed the asteroid belt, the trap was sprung. The gravitational field activated, creating powerful distortions in space. Council ships suddenly found themselves unable to move normally. Their engines strained against forces they couldn't counter. "They're caught," reported the operator monitoring the field. 53 ships trapped in the distortion. Samuel led Ghost Squadron toward the immobilized council fleet. His ships carried special weapons designed to disable rather than destroy. "Target their engine cores and weapon systems only," he ordered his pilots. "We want them disabled, not destroyed." In council space, Julia's fleet remained hidden as their drones did their work. The virus spread quickly through the council capitals, networks. Unlike on Earth, this version of the virus was more subtle. It didn't shut down systems immediately. Instead, it gathered information and created hidden access points. "We have complete access to their networks," reported engineer Alex Chen from his station on Julia's ship. "Beginning data transfer now." The evidence of the council's crimes was uploaded to every public network on Vantrix Prime. Images and videos from Earth's occupation appeared on screens across the planet. Similar evidence from dozens of other worlds the council had betrayed followed. Council citizens watched in horror as the truth about their government's actions was revealed. Julia's next target was the council's high chamber, where the 17 species representatives met. Intelligence from their allies indicated that High Minister Zax Tural had a secret emergency communication system there. He would use this to direct the reinforcement fleet sent to Earth. "Move in," Julia ordered. Her fleet decloaked near the massive council government complex. Alarm systems blared across the capital as the black human ships appeared. Inside the high chamber, Zax Tural and loyal council members were in emergency session. They watched in shock as human ships approached. "Impossible," Zax Tural said. "They can't have faster-than-light technology. We never gave it to them." "But clearly they have it," said the Zelthori representative who had remained loyal to Zax Tural. "And now they're here." Julia's voice came through all communication systems in the chamber. "This is Captain Julia Rodriguez of Earth. Your crimes against our world and many others have been exposed to your people. Your reinforcement fleet has been neutralized. Surrender now." Zax Tural refused to believe defeat was possible. "Activate planetary defenses," he ordered. "Destroy those human ships." But the virus had already affected those systems. Weapons pointed toward Julia's fleet suddenly powered down. Shield generators failed. The human ships remained untouched. Small craft launched from Julia's fleet, heading toward the high chamber. These carried special forces teams led by Major Elizabeth Morgan. They landed on the roof of the massive building and made their way inside. Elizabeth's team fought through minimal resistance. Most council security forces stood down once they realized what was happening. The evidence of their government's actions had shocked them deeply. In the high chamber, Zax Tural and his loyal followers prepared for a final stand. They sealed the doors and activated personal shield devices. "They cannot be allowed to succeed," Zax Tural told his supporters. "If they take control here, the council as we know it will end." Elizabeth's team reached the sealed doors of the chamber. Using tools designed by Dr. Martinez, they bypassed the security systems. The doors slid open, revealing the council members inside. "High Minister Zax Tural," Elizabeth announced. In the name of Earth and all worlds betrayed by Protocol 87, you are relieved of your position. At that moment, Ambassador Aaron entered with representatives from the 5 council species who had opposed Earth's occupation. The chamber grew silent. The High Council is dissolved, announced Kelmar, the Zelthari representative. A new governing body will be formed, one that honors the original purpose of our union, peaceful cooperation between worlds. Zax Tural looked around desperately, seeing his supporters abandoning him. His shield device flickered and failed, affected by the virus that now permeated all council technology. Back on Earth, the battle against the reinforcement fleet ended quickly. With their ships immobilized and systems failing, council commanders surrendered rather than risk destruction. Admiral Powell received the news from council space with satisfaction. Operation Prometheus is complete, he announced to the cheering control room. Earth is free and the council as it existed is finished. 2 months later, representatives from Earth, including Aaron, Catherine, and Powell, attended the signing of a new galactic treaty. The document, called the Sol Accords, established a new alliance based on true cooperation and respect. All species, including humans, would have equal standing. The resources of member worlds would be considered sovereign property. Technology would be shared openly. Today marks a new chapter, Aaron said as he signed the document on behalf of Earth. Not just for humanity, but for all species who believe in freedom and justice. As Earth rebuilt, Admiral Powell gave a speech to the United Nations. He stood tall despite the exhaustion of the past year. The Council believed our greatest weakness was our trust, he said to the assembled leaders. They learned too late that our greatest strength is what happens when that trust is betrayed. Humanity's fury, when unleashed, is a force that can reshape the stars themselves. But our capacity for mercy and justice is even greater. Let us move forward with both wisdom and strength, taking our rightful place among the stars. Across Earth, humans looked to the sky with new eyes. No longer were the stars just distant lights. They were destinations, homes to allies and friends. The betrayal that had nearly destroyed humanity had instead launched it into a greater future than anyone could have imagined.